Hello beautiful people, my name is Daniella and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a Daisy Jones and the Six review. I did read the book, well, I listened to the audiobook for this book after watching the first 3 episodes that came out, and then I finished it right before the last 4 episodes came out. Just know that I have read the book though, so I understand and I have noticed the differences. For this majority of my TV review, let's get right into it. So the first thing we're gonna do is characters. So first off, I'm gonna talk about Rod. Rod is their tour manager and I love Rod's character. I think he's a great character. I just feel like we didn't get to see a lot of him in the book and in the show. In the book, he didn't play a super duper important role, but I do feel like we got to hear more from him in the book because Julia would be asking him questions and he'd be answering from his point of view, but I feel like we didn't get to see that as much. I don't know if they put his love interest in the show. I don't remember, but he did have a love interest in the book and that person was not in the show. So I like Rod. He just didn't get enough screen time in my opinion. Next up is Teddy. First of all, I like the change in Teddy. Teddy's supposed to be British. He was British in the book, or at least in the audiobook that I listened to, but he's not in the show. But I actually really like Teddy's character in the show. I think they really showed Teddy in the perfect light, added the good things about him. I wish we got to see a little bit more from Teddy because I feel like as soon as they went on tour, we didn't see Teddy again, which I guess makes sense, but then his heart attack felt so random because in the book he dies from that heart attack. I like Teddy. I really do like Teddy's character. I just wish we got to see more. Next up is Simone. I love Simone's character and I love Simone's character especially in the show. And let me tell you why. I feel like Simone's character in the book was very much black best friend trope. There's just really nothing much to say other than that. Being able to see her developed into her own character and her with Bernie, it just made me so happy. It did hurt my heart that she left Bernie, but I'm happy that she went back to Bernie because Bernie and her are just a perfect couple. They really support each other in the best way possible. And Bernie was supporting her through all the ins and outs, through the thick and thin during her career, and then she's just about to drop her. That was gonna be sick. That was gonna be sick. So I'm happy that she didn't drop her. I also really like the fact that Simone in the show is more of an individual person than just her relationship to Daisy, because in the book she really was just Daisy's black best friend. I'm very happy with Simone's character development and I honestly wish we got to see Simone sing more. I also really loved the river performance that they had during the last show with Simone, and I need that on streaming quickly. Next up is one of my favorite characters of the whole entire book and show, and that is Warren. And honestly, I don't have much to say about Warren because he barely got any screen time, and honestly it makes sense because even in the book he wasn't super important, and it makes me kind of sad because I love the actor that plays Warren. I watched him in Emergency recently. It's another movie on Amazon Prime. Definitely recommend it. It's actually a really good movie. He's a great actor and I just love the character of Warren, the drummer. He's so much fun. He's always down for a good time. I feel like we just got to see him a lot in the big group scenes, but we never got to learn more about Warren himself. He did keep his character very similar to the book, very similar to the book, and I enjoyed that, but I just wish I got to see him more because he's generally one of my favorite characters and I feel like he adds so much fun and light to the group. Next up is Eddie. I think the book makes you really hate Eddie because he's just you just constantly hear him just being I hate Billy, and it's just okay, whatever. I didn't hate Eddie as much in the show. I was a bit more understanding of him. He still annoyed me and I really enjoyed when Billy punched him in the face. Eddie and Camilla. Now, I was listening to the book pretty quickly and I don't remember that being in the book. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember that being in the book, but I'm honestly not mad about that. Billy was playing in Camilla's face and Eddie was the shoulder she cried on. I don't know why she chose Eddie. I feel like it would have been a lot more fun for her to choose Warren, in my opinion. But also Eddie makes sense because it kind of works for him because it kind of shows how he's always really loved Camilla and didn't think that Billy deserved her, and then also Billy being the front man and doing all the things that Eddie wants to do. It works for his whole character thing, whatever. I just love that Eddie thought he was going to go off and have a successful career after, and he didn't. He's just kind of a loser, but I don't hate him. Next I'm going to talk about Graham and Karen together just because I feel like their storylines are very much aligned. The first issue that I have with the Graham and Karen storyline is the fact that it didn't go with the book, and in that I mean just the way that they started. I feel like the way that they started and the way that they made Karen's character in the show was really weird. Whenever she talked, she just said weird things. I feel like sometimes weird one-liners, and it felt like her her character was like overly sexualized to a point where I was just, is her whole character supposed to just be there to be with Graham? Like, that's how it felt, because I feel like in the book there was more of a development of who she was, but I feel like in the show it was just her and Graham's relationship, like Graham and Karen, Graham and Karen, Graham and Karen. Like, that is how they are. But I just wish that they got together the way that they had in the books, because the way that they got together in the show was just kind of weird. And also, I feel bad for that girl. Did she sit there and just wait? I need to know what I wish we got to see a scene where she like drove off, because I need to know how long, or if she saw, you know what I mean? Graham and Karen's storyline otherwise was very similar to the book, so I really just don't have very much to say about Graham. Graham's character is just not, he doesn't do much for me. I'm so sorry to say, but like, he just doesn't do much for me. For the story, honestly, he is the reason why the band was created, because he had a band and, you know, Billy and all those things. But yeah, I mean, he was just a younger brother. He was a good younger brother. I'm happy with the way that it ended for him. And for Karen, trigger warning for abortion. The abortion, it was perfectly depicted in my opinion. Like, I think it showed exactly what I wanted to see of that whole storyline in the show really well compared to the book. Camilla helping Karen, and, you know, Graham and Karen's relationship ending because of that. I just think it was really good. I really loved that Karen stood in her autonomy and made that decision for her own body, and I do really like Karen. I like book Karen more than show Karen, but Suki Waterhouse is amazing, so yeah. Now we're gonna get into the trifecta, the throuple, the love triangle that is Camilla, Billy, and Daisy. And I'm gonna start off with Camilla because she's my favorite character. I love Camilla down. I also love the actress Camilla that plays Camilla. She's so beautiful, and I've never seen her anything before, but I definitely will be watching her career because she's a really good actress and I really like her. Camilla deserved better. Book Camilla deserved better, show Camilla deserved better. Camilla deserves better. It's kind of crazy to me because like Camilla gave up her career, she gave up her life in Pittsburgh to be with Billy, and you know, she got pregnant really early on and had the babies, stayed home and was a mother, which she wanted. She truly did want that, but Billy was being sick to her from the get-go, because why the heck did Camilla have to come to that first tour and catch him in the van with those two women? And then he had the audacity to go and try to snort a line after she had caught him. That scene where she like slaps him and she's like, you better do better when this baby comes. Wow, I love, that was a mother. That was a mother, because he needed to know. He needed to know that he could not be acting that way. And when she was like, clean yourself up and walked away, I was like, oh, I love that scene. I love it. Camilla, amazing. I do want to say justice for the twins. I don't know why they didn't put the twins into the show, but they were twins after Julia that we just didn't get to see. I just think Camilla deserved better, but also, and this is my issue with Camilla in the book and in the show, I don't understand why Camilla stayed. I've never been in love, so maybe I just don't understand, you know? But I know that she loved Billy down. Like, that was her man. It was really obvious that Billy and Daisy were like meant to be. Sexual chemistry and tension between those two was insane, and that's not what will build a relationship. But I just think that Billy and Daisy, if they both were sober and everything, like, I think that they would have really loved each other and been in a lasting and long and loving relationship. I understand that Camilla was in love with Billy, and I understand that Camilla was the mother of his children. I feel like she could have gotten so much more love in her life if she had left Billy, and that's just my opinion. Okay, moving on from Camilla, my queen, to Billy. Billy Dunn has a lot of haters, and I don't know if I'm one of them. You know what? And I'm probably saying that because Sam Claflin is playing him, so let me stop. Billy Dunn is not an honest man. That's what I'm gonna say. He's not an honest man, because I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's a good person. I just don't think he's an honest man. He was in with the substance abuse when him and Camilla got pregnant with Julia. He missed that portion of his daughter's life. He was becoming exactly the person he didn't want to be, because that's how his father was. He put all of himself into the music. And I understand, like, music is important, that's his life, like, I get it. I don't think that it benefited him, because I think him trying his best to stay sober was not for himself. I feel like he did that because he knew that Camilla needed him and that Julia needed him, and obviously he needed to stay alive too. But I think his sobriety was really dependent on like the music and his life, and so when his life and the music were going haywire, he fell back in. Now obviously I've never dealt with substance abuse. I do not know. This is just what I think from the way that his story was written. Daisy, I really like Daisy's character, but she was a brat. Like, in the beginning she was a brat. In the book, she was an even bigger brat. But I think Daisy, we're gonna put it quite plainly, she was a rich white girl in the 70s who had everything she could ever want. She wanted more, and that's completely fine. I didn't like the way that she just like, she never took criticism well. I understand how hard it can be to take criticism, but like, I think as she grew, she got better. Daisy's substance abuse was also like, that's a big portion of her. And something that I had a little bit of an issue with was that Daisy's whole entire first relationship in the book is not in the show at all. Like, Daisy had a relationship with the guy who was then her manager before Nikki, before she was even with the Sick. It was kind of weird because you just get to see her with Nikki. It's still bad, but there was someone prior to that too. But I also feel like Daisy's story is one that's just really sad because she was just seeking love from anyone, and she found that with Billy, but she couldn't even have him. So I don't know, it's kind of hard for Daisy, and I don't dislike Daisy, but I don't like love. I just like liked Daisy. I thought Daisy was a fun character. She did worry me though, because she was taking a lot of stuff. I think she abused her relationship with Simone a bit, especially with her I Need Help and Simone flying across the world to Greece to her. She was a good artist and she could write a good song, and she was really good on tour, but she also was erratic sometimes, and that's also due to her being in love with Billy and, you know, on so many drugs. So I don't know, it's really layered. Billy and Daisy. In another lifetime, I would be a Billy and Daisy fan. If Camilla was not in the middle and that wasn't there and it wasn't a love triangle, I would be all for Billy and Daisy. I also hate love triangles, but that's beside the point. I think that it was crazy, the connection that Billy and Daisy had. Like, when they first shared a mic for the first time in Hawaii, I was like, okay. That one episode where they're writing that song, which was so cool. I really enjoyed that episode. That wasn't like the books, and I really enjoyed that. That episode, I was just like, these people are in love with each other. And seeing them slowly fall in love with each other over the tour, and, you know, that kind of being like kind of the driving force for their fights and stuff. When he kissed her of the recording sessions, I had an issue because I was like, whoa. Them just acting like that didn't happen, her getting married to Nikki and him being mad, and then her overdose, what led to Chicago. The Chicago show, they're in love with each other. There's a scene where they are sharing a mic, and it looks like they're kissing, because like that's how close their faces were to each other. Like, Camilla, you deserve better. Billy and Daisy being together was just like, okay, I like them together. I just don't like that Camilla is getting hurt because of that. Him kissing her and being all up over her during the show just because Camilla left him. Like, Daisy is not your sloppy seconds. Don't treat her that way. I felt like that was really weird and wrong. So I didn't like that. But otherwise, I liked Billy and Daisy together. I just wish that Camilla wasn't getting hurt. I'm gonna give like a little bit of an overview plot of what I liked, didn't like, stuff like that. My biggest issue or change was the difference between Camilla and Daisy's conversation that led Daisy to leave the band. Because in the book, Camilla and Daisy, their conversation is not about Billy, it is about Daisy. And Camilla reminds Daisy of like how much she means to people and like how important she was and that she could do better. In the show, Daisy and Camilla's conversation is just like, you can have him, it's about Billy. And I feel like that kind of sucks, but it also gave Daisy the ability to decide to leave on her own, which is good character development for Daisy. I just don't like the way that they kind of watered down that conversation between Camilla and Daisy, because that was a really turning point conversation in the book, and I feel like it would have been a really great turning point conversation in the show if we had seen it the way that it was written in the book. So yeah, that's like my only issue, kind of, on top of the other things I've already discussed. I enjoyed the show. I love the fun, the 70s, the everything. I try to be a little bit 70s, so I wore this little orange top with flower power flare pants, given the 70s vibes. I enjoyed the show. I personally like don't want a season 2 though, because I think that if there was a season 2, it just wouldn't feel the same. I think part of the reason why so many people enjoyed this was because of the book and the fan base it already had. Unless Taylor Jenkins Reid was already in the works of writing a second book maybe, or had thoughts of what their story would have been like continued, I personally do not want a season 2, because it's like the season 2 is not going to be them in the past getting back together. Like, we've already seen them up to the future. future where they didn't get back together. So it would have to be from now until whenever they die. And Camilla not being in the show would just make me mad. So I don't want to see them two. The music. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just okay to me. I liked it. I don't really think I would add any of the songs to a playlist other than The River with Simone, which is not on streaming. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Also comment down below what you thought of the season of Daisy Jones and the Six. If you read the book, did you like the changes? Did you not like the changes? If you didn't read the book, what was your impressions? I love you guys and I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one.